So we're up to nearly 50 likes, guys, and over 100 watching. So let's get into it. Thanks for tuning in, guys. To start off with, just quickly, obviously, if you've signed up for our free newsletter, you might have seen this already. But this time last year, ASIC in Australia came out and said that, ICOs aren't really a threat. We're probably not going to regulate them. Nothing to worry about. And here we are, less than 12 months later. It's a huge industry and giving them some headaches, and all regulators headaches really on, square pegs trying to fit through round holes. So it's funny how things change. This time last year, Bitcoin was at 2,500. There's a lot of fear about SegWit 2x and, how this was going to, Bitcoin could die if we hard forked, and, all that sort of FUD was out there. And one of the few coins holding up well that we started to talk about on the channel, I think it was around $5, possibly even less. I know a lot of you guys got it as when it was AntShares. Started that rebranding to something a little bit more professional, a bit more sleek and sexy, I guess, Neo and Gas. And they've been in the news again this week, which we'll talk about, and we'll have a look at the technicals for Neo as well. So this was probably the most interesting survey. Again, thanks to everyone that takes part in these, and the more honest answers you give, the better we get a feel in the community. So 5% of people were the purists that just own Bitcoin. But what's surprising for me was that 41% of people don't own any Bitcoin as well. And I really think that every year Bitcoin is going to continue to surprise people. I think it really is a must own, even if it's just a small percentage of your portfolio. Even Ethereum, Bitcoin and Ethereum truly are the two, widest spread, projects with the most developers. You've just got to be aware of that, guys. I think continually people feel that they've missed the boat and they look for the next thing that's going to go up in price. But don't write off how much of a head start they have and how much development's taking place on the two biggest coins. And then obviously the majority of people falling into that bit of both category. Who buy? At the startup the other night, these were the 8 projects that had a 60-second pitch, Australian startups. We've covered a couple on the channel before, Kenya and Loki, and we'll continue to try and give Australian startups free exposure on the channel and give them the best chance to succeed, which is what our mission is all about. And we obviously we look for projects globally, but obviously we love to support the local ones as well. And that was a fantastic evening, and some of the stuff that I heard there, guys, and the conversations I had were just crazy. And one of the things we heard was that there's over 100 exchanges in Australia that are registered or set to be listed and come online. Now, that's just crazy. I think that, none of them are going to survive. 100 exchanges are not going to survive long term, but geez, competition is surely a good thing. And if this is happening in Australia, we know Hobai the other night said they're going to, India, all these other places, guys. It's a race. We've spoken about it on the channel before. It's a race to collect fees and get more people into this space. The most exciting up and coming new technology on the planet, and who doesn't want to be a part of that, I guess. So just quickly, this was another article from the Business Insider, the most innovative startups in the world. We had 2 companies from Australia, so congratulations to Horizon State that were the only blockchain cryptocurrency based project making that list, making blockchain more secure. You guys know we've had it on the channel before, and just today I retweeted the MyVote tweet, guys, that they are announcing that they are going to hold this sort of gun policy scheduled in October. This is a pretty hotly debated topic in the US. Expect change, and the rallies they have, and the young generation really getting on board this, and the NRA are very passionate about gun rights and all that sort of thing. So this is certainly going to put Horizon State on the world map, hopefully, and congrats to the team and MyVote that work hard behind the scenes. Majority of you guys that follow this channel, I'm pretty much on board that you guys love Horizon State as well. Great use of technology and great social impact. WaltonChain's having some good news lately. So thanks to David Jeffress that posted this in our premium group today, guys. But WaltonChain, a hint of, we don't like to pump stuff up too much on this channel, announcements about announcements, but this was just in their dedicated chat, and, I don't mind sometimes when they talk about the future possible announcements just to their really loyal followers versus people with 100,000 Twitter followers that just, put out tweets about announcements. I think that's maybe less evil. But anyway, guys, the point is some people are sort of saying that this could be huge. This could be Tencent in China. WaltonChain's one we've been following for a long time. It's performed extremely well, from when we first covered it. Continues to do good things. We'll take a look at that on the technicals as well. Facebook has a new director of engineering for blockchain. We've all got the rumors out there about, are Facebook going to create their own coin? They're unbanning ads. Again, they don't want to miss out on all this revenue. That's a huge part of their business, guys. And, people want to pay and run ads. So it's a race to become part of this industry. We'll keep saying it, guys. It's not dead. Bitcoin's not dead. Crypto's not dead. It is a race that is just beginning. Now, Ethereum at TechCrunch came out and said, I hope centralized exchanges burn in hell. And this was, a bit of a clickbaity headline. It was slightly taken out of context. He did laugh after he said this. I watched the whole talk, guys. I recommend you do too. But he certainly said that, look, centralized exchanges are always going to have their place in terms of that fiat on-ramp and off-ramp. But in terms of crypto to crypto and coins getting listed fairly rather than whoever pays the most to get listed on the big exchanges, that whole ecosystem is going to play out and continue to decentralize. And that's what Vitalik was getting at. And obviously, we agree with that as well. Centralized exchanges at the moment have got more volume and liquidity. It is what it is, but everyone's working hard behind the scenes. There's already half a dozen decentralized exchanges. Whoever has that best customer user experience is going to win out. A lot of them are running on 0x protocol, which we've been really bullish on. And there's another decentralized derivatives protocol which we're going to be covering more in the future, which we're really excited about, which we spoke about a little bit in the group this week. So check out DYDX if you want, guys. Now, speaking of Ethereum, they sort of came out this week and said, look, sharding's probably not till 2020. The race is on to scale blockchains, okay? And we're seeing other projects launching to mainnet, having setbacks, having hiccups, ironing out bugs. The race is on who can scale first, but really who can scale in a decentralized manner is going to be important for a lot of people as well. So, look, don't forget that sharding's just one of the big three Ethereum's got on the card. So there's already 3 projects that are looking to implement Plasma. Amisa Go, one of my favorites, is certainly one of those that's working really hard on Plasma. We've got Raiden, the Ethereum version of Lightning Network. We've got side channels. We've got, state channels, fate channels, Funfair call them, all different tweaks of these second layer solutions. So there's not just the be all and end all. And a lot of these things are going to add, something like Plasma is probably the most important, being able to have entire side chains or blockchains within blockchains versus sharding, which is breaking up the workload between the nodes on the network and all that sort of thing. So all these together, Ethereum, their plan is still to get to millions or ultimately billions of transactions per second through all these different second and possibly even third layer solutions as we move forward, guys. Now, this is just in a couple of hours ago. Policy easing in South Korea, always a welcome change. A few new crypto classifications, in particular talking about the infrastructure coins. I think they name Ethereum and EOS here, guys. That they know that they can't just treat these as a commodity or as shares. Okay, they know that they need their own asset class, I guess. The Korean banks, I think I've got that in the next slide as well, guys. Sorry, there it is. EOS and Ethereum have unique industry classification criteria. Next slide here, that the Korean banks themselves have got, $2 billion invested in crypto, and, basically saying that, this isn't really a systemic risk or anything like that. We're not worried about it, but we acknowledge that the banks are investing in crypto. So, that's always another green flag to say, we know you're investing, and they're probably going to continue investing in crypto as well. So good to see. Friendly stance there in Korea. I think I just touched on that there, guys. Same headline. Now, the Bitcoin ETF. So VanEck have applied 3 times. VanEck make a range of ETFs. CBOE Global Markets files a new Bitcoin ETF license application with the SEC. So look, we're always getting closer to that one listing where the futures have been out there now and had one, full round from launch to expiration. this, it's sort of stabilizing. Everyone's a bit more comfortable and familiar with it. And again, it's just a matter of time, guys, until we get some sort of, ETF. And there's already other countries that are racing. So the Swiss Stock Exchange set to launch distributed ledger-based digital asset exchange. So, all these slightly different tweaks. We've got exchange-traded notes in some countries. It's really that exchange-traded fund that everyone's looking for that holds Bitcoins. But any way that people can onboard and invest into digital assets it's all good, guys. And again, price isn't really reflecting all this good news lately. We're still in that sort of no man's land again. I'll talk about that a little bit later, but look, everyone is just wanting to capture that market share. Winklevoss twins recruiting New York Stock Exchange Chief Information Officer. We see it, guys. People leaving banks, joining Facebook, blockchain sector. Winklevoss twins have got that money to spend. The race is on, as we say. So WaltonChain, again, another good news during the week, implementing their near field communication, Internet of Things, all these sensors with food, with clothing, in garments there. So look, this is one that making big inroads, guys, and probably still a little bit underrated, not really getting hyped too much compared to other projects out there in the top 20, even 50, you don't really hear WaltonChain that much on all the threads. And just finally, the Neo Smart Economy, the third version of their white paper, talking about, further decentralizing Neo. I think they have 7 coordinator nodes, or, maybe more now, but they started off with the very centralized. They're aware of that, guys. They're looking to improve that. I think there's already 60 apps on Neo. We spoke about it weeks ago that we thought it was definitely getting a little bit underrated and no one talking about it. We knew that more projects were going to launch on Neo. That puts an intrinsic demand on the Neo coin itself, and price is starting to react. So look, after all that good news, guys, last week we were trading at around 6,300. We're pretty much going sideways here, and we're waiting to see if we could get another break up. Let's just go to the 4-hour chart that shows this a little bit better. We traded sideways for hours and hours on end there, guys, and sure enough, we got that break to the upside, big bull volume. That's what we were looking for. We're seeing if we can get that cycle bracket up there. We're seeing if we could continue for the length of this cycle bracket rather than, collapsing down and, just having these downtrends for the length of time. We got that push up there, which is what we wanted, and it's continued to push up for the entire length of the time cycle. So guys, maybe we have this little pullback here for the next day or two to cool off, but either way, this is the most bullish setup we've kind of seen in weeks and weeks, and definitely in terms of these cycle brackets. So we got that right hand translation we're looking for. Volume hasn't been huge, but certainly a lot of positive signs. And we're in that tussle between the traders. And I just want to bring up the shorts. So the only thing that's kind of worrying me here is that shorts are back up. Longs. Shorts aren't too bad. It's the longs that I was looking at that are back up near record highs. So people betting that Bitcoin's going to go up. And a lot of the time, these people can be wrong. So very rarely do we see, people betting in record amounts that something's going to go in one direction and then it goes that way and they all make money. We always talk about, well, who's on the other side of this trade? Another thing this sets up for is if we do get that one more leg down, that final sort of capitulation that a lot of traders are looking for, I don't think we're going to get down to those 3,000 levels that people are sort of talking about. I've said that I don't think we're going to get a weekly close below 5,000. Even 5,500, I think buyers are going to really step in big force. But it does set up for that to get liquidated. If we get a big sell-off and everyone's long, a lot of that dumb money is going to get liquidated, and that can drive the price down. And that would play out in that scenario, maybe not in the next few days, whenever it may be. It plays out for that really sharp sell-off. Positions liquidated, we get down to a low price, we're not there for a very long period of time at all, and it's a big V-shaped recovery. Okay, so that's not what we've had so far, and it has been get that back on auto, guys. It has been a real sort of grind lower compared to these V-shaped recoveries and bounces that get sold into, pretty sharp recovery. This is, more of a bottoming process that we've been forming, and particularly on the weekly, guys. Look at that, a nice sort of rounded bottom. And sometimes that's what you get when there hasn't been any one big news catalyst to start a rally or one huge sell-off to have that final capitulation and the buyers step in. So that's why we're in that no man's land. And certainly in terms of the weekly, we haven't given everything back. It's still bullish on the weekly and monthly chart, guys, long term, particularly when you look at it in log cycles. So that's probably it for Bitcoin. That date we had is the 11th, so the next couple of days. I have that extension there. That head and shoulders didn't really play out. Some people even looking at a bit of a cup and handle possibly. But look, either way, that's kind of that target that I'll be looking at least 7,500 and possibly as high as 8,000 if we get a strong break on good volume there, guys. But probably watching those bets, the shorts and the longs on Bitcoin's probably what's most important, and they're not as noticeable on the other coins on Ethereum. So let's have a look at Ethereum. It got right up and tested this, long-term pennant that we've been consolidating in, tightening, and look, you've got to start to ask, does Ethereum lead the way and have this break here? So we're right here in these 2 cycle brackets, which is tomorrow, the 10th of July. Does Ethereum start to break away and possibly lead the market? So Bitcoin's definitely been leading just about every coin out there. Look, Litecoin really played strong catch up. We haven't had that weekly close below 80 that we said was going to be really long-term support. So the wicks being bought into around the $80 level there, guys. Same with Ethereum. It's not down making new lows like Bitcoin. It's held up well. So do we start to see a few of the other coins step up and lead the way possibly with good fundamental news? Maybe Ethereum gets some futures or an ETF, but particularly in terms of those individual projects, yeah, we've got to start to say that I think it's just getting to that price now, and NEO is a prime example, which we're going to talk about. This pattern broke down, and we're down here in $27. So congrats whoever picked some up there, guys. But the thing was that we're sort of saying this is getting extremely undervalued in terms of just the basics of demand, and everyone's forgotten about NEO. A project that's that good should not be down 90% in the same class as some of the weaker altcoins. So obviously that long-term support that we had on the chart there, guys, that now becomes resistance. We've pulled back. Let's just get out our fib retracement. So a lot of these coins are in the same boat where they haven't given much back. So sort of hovering around these high fib retracement levels there. Buyers stepping in. I think NEO's a bit forgotten about. Interesting to see what you guys have to say in the comments, but more and more projects coming along in China. Ontology doing good things along with NEO. Yeah, these projects are going to start to speak for themselves, and man, congrats whoever got a trade in there, but even long-term portfolio value, guys. Do I see NEO making new all-time highs in the future? Yeah, of course. If they continue to do good things, absolute no-brainer. So WaltonChain was the other one I wanted to have a look at. Again, daily chart, like so many coins. Wow, WaltonChain up to $47 and then back down to $5. So as we said, considering all the good news they've had, does this deserve to be having more of a run than down, 90% from its all-time highs? I definitely think so. We haven't seen a huge volume yet, which we saw with Power Ledger chart the other day, which shows the bulls and, some big money, some smart money possibly moving into these projects. So this is on Binance, the volume here, guys. But look, I'll be keeping an eye on WaltonChain, particularly if they have anything to do with Tencent this week. I don't think that this is priced in. When you look at the volume and the move off the lows, I definitely don't think that this has had that move yet. So plenty to like about behind the scenes, guys. That interview we did with Rick Klink, check that out if you haven't, guys. Institutional money. We've covered it in detail tonight. There's a setup there to possibly shake out people and have one more leg down. But are we getting to that point now where the institutional money, big players moving into the space, more exchanges, it's a race to onboard users, so much good things happening behind the scenes, and anyone that's involved in the space you talk to will tell you that they're more excited than ever. So looking forward to covering more projects this week, and I'll talk to you again soon, guys. Cheers.